Hi guys. So, the first thing I gotta do is apologize. I know I've kept you guys waiting. Um, it's the first time we're doing this. There's a lot of trial and error, so we're really sorry to keep you guys waiting. But thank you all for coming down. This is our first ever workshop in Bali Praia, and second. The the um, the point of this space is to gather everyone from musicians, artists, music-minded people, anyone who wants to learn and kind of like network and get to know other people in the industry. So I appreciate everybody coming down from like friends, DJs, new faces, all kinds of peeps. So um, I wanted to do this workshop because I have a feeling, just by learning and getting experiences and stories from other DJs, you could kind of like learn how to market yourself better. I know there's a lot of talented musicians and artists and DJs in the country, and they don't know how to go about like getting gigs or getting international gigs or maintaining some sort of profile where you um, are going to keep the momentum going. So I've prepared this little workshop, how to market yourself as a DJ. And so here we go. Oh, I have to mention we're supported by Bintang Beer. So thank you, Bintang, for helping out with this. Next slide, baby. So just an overview about what's going to go down. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself. I'm going to go into DJ branding, finding your sound and recording, going into photography, social media, press kit, networking, what to do at gigs, what to do after your gigs, and some pitfalls, some don't do this sort of like tips and stuff. And feel free to just interrupt me, ask questions. Maybe you guys have some stories of your own. I just want to try to make this as interactive as possible. So next slide. Oh yeah, I gotta I gotta put these like kind of like caution things, which is following these strategies will not make you instantly famous. So after this workshop, I don't want to get phone calls and be like, Mikey, I followed everything, and then nothing happened. There is also nothing technical in this workshop. There is no right answer to this. I'm just about to basically share my experiences and my journey on the things that I've done. It's mostly going to cover the essentials. I know there's a lot of, websites and blogs that cover this in more detail. But I'm trying to kind of like squish it down into like a half an hour workshop. And then, as I said, this workshop is all about sharing experiences, networking, exchanging ideas. So anyway, feel free to just raise your hand up and share. So I'm born in Jakarta. I have a degree in marketing and finance. One of the things that I really wanted to do was do something creative. So I went to San Francisco and I studied new media design. And it was right after marketing in Boston University at 2003 where some of my friends, they were DJs. They had some used turntables, and I saw this movie called Groove. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of this movie. There you go. We have one. It's about mobile raves in San Francisco and everything from the planning, the executing. I think it won a Sundance movie award. If you guys haven't seen it, go check it out. It's about like DJ raves back in the day, and it inspired me to become a DJ actually. So started DJing and hustled, and I've opened for Neo, Far East Movement, Swedish House Mafia, played for Jakarta Warehouse Project. So have some good lineup of gigs that I've done. I'm also the co-founder of Go-Jek and a lot of these other companies that I've done, and I was the brand director. So I made kind of like the branding for all these different companies. So next slide. So one of the things that I wanted to highlight, and this doesn't actually have to do with just DJing, and I think a lot of people learn a thing or two, is that a brand is no longer a logo. It's no longer a website. It's no longer a business card. It's an experience, which means every single thing that you do, whether it be your outfit that you show up in gigs, whether it's your business card, your attitude on how you network with people and everything. That is an experience. That is your Fadi experience. That is your Echa experience. You know what I mean? How do you want to be perceived from the public? You know what I mean? And I will keep on going back to this quote because I think it's so important that, you know, it's not about just recording another mixtape. It's really about the 360 experience, you know? So, next slide. You know, back in the day, in the 90s, I've actually seen this kind of like post being everywhere, is that your job as a DJ was just a DJ, but now it's like you're the promoter, you're the graphic designer, you're the guy organizing the guest list, you're the guy organizing drinks for people. It's just like you are, you know, not just a DJ anymore, you know? And that's why I said, don't think of yourself just as the DJ, you are the brand. That's what I'm trying to highlight with this whole presentation. It's all about making it all sync. So next slide. It all starts with the name, right? Make it something that is instantly recognizable. There's something that I've kind of just learned about some DJs that I know, is that they actually have multiple names for multiple brands of music and personas that they wanted to do. You know, I think PerQX, one of them, Ade Devara, he has his DJ Ade for like EDM, and then he used Devara for his house music. You know what I mean? And so there's multiple ways that you want to be doing this. It's just that from my side and my experience, I actually started getting big with hip hop in the very beginning. It's because I met DJ Stan, who's gonna be coming here later on. And one of the things of how I started getting gigs is that I met Stan, and in Jakarta in 2004, all clubs were playing hip hop. It's almost like house music was like non-existent. And of course, you wanted to get into the DJ game, so I started learning hip hop music. And once you're already labeled to a certain type of music with your name, it's hard to get out of it. I couldn't get any house gigs. I couldn't get any like funk gigs or something like that. So DJ Mikey Moran, at that point, it was just like, oh, I didn't know you play house. I thought you were a hip hop gig. You're already labeled at a certain brand. So I know there were some people that come up with multiple names and multiple personas to try to do multiple brands. Oh, Oscar, what's up? No worries, no worries. But of course, you know, Oscar, this will be a question for you later. I just wanted to highlight about names and sticking with it, is that choose it right and stick with it, because once you're labeled at a certain name, it's hard to get out of it. I know there was like an artist that in San Francisco, they used this name called Kapakahi, which apparently in Hawaiian means like, I don't know, to chill or something like that. And everyone was always like, what is that DJ name? Or is Kapaka, whatever, and nobody would ever recognize it. So halfway through, I think it must have been like 4 years later, they changed their name. And then he had to restart everything from scratch, and it was just like, I don't know, you have to if you restart from everything, game over basically. Make all social media accounts consistent, you know, don't say you're DJ Mikey 81 and then another one is like DJ Mikey whatever, just like try to find something which where the names would all be the same, because you know it's through a digital footprint on Google. Once you type DJ Mikey Moran, then everything will just come up, your Twitter, your Instagram, and whatever. Are there any like brand new DJs here? Anyone that hasn't come up with like logos or something like that? So I want to explain my way of what I did was, go to the next slide. There's this website called The Font, and you know, you just type in your name, and then there's a whole bunch of things that like come out. I mean, this would not be just applied for DJing; it can be applied for branding. It's a great way of trying to figure out your persona and your style. So next one. So, you know, logos, it embodies you as an artist, let it represent you. These are just kind of like my kind of like do's. Make it readable, make it look good in black and white. It's not all about like having it all colorful or whatever. I mean, you can make it in your flyer and stuff, but it has to kind of like be readable and just represent you. It will be used for all your marketing materials. Simplify it and don't overdo it. So finding your sound and recording. Next one, Sam. So actually, this was from a quote that I got online, and it's also actually on this wall. Um, DJing is not about choosing a few tunes, it's about generating shared moods. It is about understanding the feelings of a group of people and taking them to a better place. Um, I thought this was kind of like a really good quote about DJing, because quite often DJs, they'll, I don't know if it's if offended is the word, but you know, you get requests for playing a certain song or a certain music, and you know, you don't want to be labeled as just an iPod playlist. Like the artistry of DJing, I mean, I can't actually, there's a lot of technical things that I actually don't know, but I feel that my artistry is about taking these people on this journey. And you know, it's all about the surprises, it's all about the thing, but also finding that signature sound, you know. So next one. When I say, you know, when I said about experiences and branding and you representing your brand, your product is your music. I mean, we have this tagline in Bali Praia, which is music is the key. And without, you know, every time there's a new DJ that like comes up to me and be like, hey, I want to learn DJing, the first thing I ask them, I'm like, all right, well, what's your music collection like? I mean, like, what style of music do you want to know? And DJing 101, I'm sorry, you really need to know good music. If you don't know good music, then, and then after that, it's all the technicality and stuff like that. Try to stick to one sound. Remember, this is your experience. Don't get too experimental. Don't start playing trap when you're supposed to play tech house. um, and then it's all about the journey. You know, don't become an iPod playlist. Like, don't just start downloading like top 100 on Beatport. It's all about also musical education on playing something a bit different. You know, now with social media, you can get creative when you record. I mean, I discovered this first time from a DJ that was in Bali. His name's Alex Verdacci, and he was recording a mixtape with Facebook Live. You know, we didn't have that back in the day. You could just like get a few friends, start recording a mixtape. Hey, we have Bali Praia upstairs as well. So you can record mixtapes over there. You can do Facebook Live and have friends help you and share, and you could get noticed with that kind of like procedure. And then of course, I'm sure there's a lot of DJs here. Everybody knows SoundCloud and Mixcloud, so no need to go there. So photography, you know, this is one thing I feel like some people kind of like miss. And they're like, okay, why should we do this? I mean, photography with professional photos, it kind of like puts you in a different league. I feel like, you know, you are the brand. If you just say, hey, you know, look at my Facebook profile, I don't think you're really, thank you. You wanna differentiate yourself from a competition. And to be honest, sometimes it even just takes the brand new iPhone, you know, like the new iPhone can do this thing called studio shots, and you've kind of like, you know, cut corners and stuff like that. The photo that was on my SoundCloud earlier was from the new iPhone, you know what I mean? As I said, great photography will set you apart from the competition, and of course, you know, make it in sync with your style. Don't like put, you know, I guess like ghetto sort of like, you know, torn jeans together with trying to get like a wedding gig or something like that, you know what I mean? Another thing is there's so many different ways that clubs will promote you, so it's always good to have a little bit of a variety, you know, headshots and action shots and all that. So it's good to just mix it up a bit. Next. Yeah, so this is what I was like trying to give an example, which is we want a headline. We want you a headline for a new club, and we need a high-res photo, and they're like, oh, I don't have any photos. So it's all up to you. Biography, you know, it's there's, I can, biographies are one of these things where you want to just highlight. You don't have to give your whole life story. I think sometimes people just like, oh, I got into music because my dad was into it. It's just like it's one of those things where they want you to see where what your influences are and what you've done. I think it's important to just share the important stuff, avoid cliches, bragging, don't exaggerate. It's like, again, it's all about the experience. You don't want to make people perceive something else than who you are. Um, this is a checklist I was highlighting. I think from some people that were here before is that this presentation will be emailed to everyone. So I don't really want to go into this. You can read it at your own time. Next one. Social media content is key. It's all about mixing it up, and the harsh reality is that if you're not on social media, well, you may as well not exist. It's one of those things where the social media game has changed so much since the very beginnings of Facebook. Like now you have Instagram, you have Insta Story, and it's about keeping yourself current. You can try to be as engaging as possible. You can make it as variety as possible. One of the things that I think you have to be careful with is your opinions. I know that there's some people who use social media as like their brand, you know what I mean? And things that are negative can go very viral very fast. So just whether it be an opinion about a DJ, a music, religion, or whatever, just be careful of what you say and what you do. Don't overpost. I mean, there's stuff that like Insta Story where you can use this as a new medium of supporting things that you're posting, and yeah, and then the other two is I've already gone into that. So yeah, to me, my general rule is I like once a day. You know, yeah. I mean, it depends, right? If you got like certain news of what you want to highlight, it really depends. Like even with Bali Praia, we're sticking with one today. But suddenly, if you have, oh hey, we're going to have, I don't know, let's say like Armin van Buren coming. Like you want to be spreading news and you want to be highlighting that. It's just you don't want to be spamming, I guess, too much about yourself or too much about your brand. No, I think the whole thing with Insta Story, as it's trying to be an instant story, you can actually post whenever you want. It's not really in your face because people still have to click at your thing, and then if they're interested in what you have, what news you have, then they'll click it, right? So that's my philosophy over it. I just want to give like little examples. We got DJ Lil Ale here somewhere in the building. She's upstairs. And one of my favorite DJs, Chusen Tabalos, and also Dennis Cruz. I was looking at their Instagram. They have everything from like good press shots, a variety of like movies and things that they're releasing, and it's cool to kind of just see how vibrant they are. So those are some good examples and accounts that I follow. Um, So in your press kit, this is also another thing of just getting really organized, having everything all in one place. You don't have to just like, search in your drive anymore. You just send a link, and in your link, it already has a bio, it has a Word document, logos, professional shots, and then all this optional stuff, which is like shows and videos and music. I don't even think a website is really necessary because a lot of people will just be like, hey, can you send me your press kit? You just need to like send a link. A website again is good for Google search and your digital footprint, but I don't think it's really necessary. In the next one, we have Echa Angara, who's right here. I checked out his press kit and oh, hello. This was awesome. You know what I mean? You just send this, and then everything's already there. People don't need to figure out like where they need to go and stuff like that. So this is well done, Eja. Networking. Okay, so put in a quote. If you play your cards right and put some thought into your marketing plan, you can turn what you love into a fulfilling career. And some points on the next slide. You could be the best DJ in the world. Technically, you could have like awesome brand, but I'm sorry, if you're not gonna get out there and network, then you're not gonna get gigs. This is all about networking. It's all about getting. I have a feeling like, and me and Fadi, we get all these things where, hey man, I'm a DJ from wherever, Switzerland, Sweden. Can you get me into gigs? It's like we can't do that because you're not really like known here. You know what I mean? We get these requests all the time. I always say my number one thing: you want to DJ in Bali? Get your ass here. Start meeting people. Start networking. If people like you, they're gonna book you, right? That's the end goal into this. Um, I always just like 101 stuff. It's like remember business cards, get the guy's contact, be professional, be sincere. You are a small fish in a very big pond. There's also like if you want to get into drum and bass, there are communities, and you hang out with other DJs, and you'll get booked with them. Remember to follow up with potential gigs. There's the first step is to getting to know the people, and then after that, if you don't expect them just to follow up with you, you got to follow up as well. And with gigs, yeah, don't forget to invite your fans and your friends and stuff. What to do at gigs? This is actually what could be some downfall for some people. Look, you get the gig and all of a sudden you think, oh, okay, like I'm Superman. So just, attitude is everything. Don't show up late. Don't be an ass. Don't be intoxicated. Be respectful to clients. They are the ones that are booking you. One of the things that also I think when DJs are starting out, they have a failure on crowd reading. You have to kind of like know your crowd, because whatever's working on the gig before might not work again. One of the things also where I feel like some DJs don't do is like treat every set like it's your last. Always give it your all. There's all these people that came to see you. I mean, I know I've seen Oscar, I've seen Echa, I've seen Fadi play, and there's always this like high energy, and it's all about the entertainment. I've seen some DJs, all they do is they just like look at the thing and they're not really interacting with the crowd. Well, if that's your thing, that's your thing. You know what I mean? If you want to be in the game, well, try to just create a little bit more excitement. Be respectful to the DJ before and after. Yeah, I've had some pretty crazy horror stories. Some DJs that just like interrupt you while you're spinning and stuff like that. It's just like, yo man, you gotta step off kind of thing. So just be respectful and stuff like that. So yeah, pitfalls. Don't do this. Know your client. So it's one of those things where wanna. I mean, by example, I think one of the best examples is like getting booked to weddings. There you really don't know what your client wants and stuff like that, and all it takes of you is just to ask what kind of music they want. Maybe even go even more specific. Um, it's easy to get caught in all this, once you're reaching to superstardom. Just don't. I mean, it's all about keeping it real and staying humble, and don't believe you're a god. Um, don't up your fee too much. It's one of those things where when I started DJing, a lot of my gigs were for free. I just wanted to get out there. I just wanted to get gigs and stuff like that. And I think once you start trying to raise your fee because of the time that you're in. I mean, maybe sometimes you're gonna lose gigs with that. So just be careful with that. Being an opening DJ, don't steal the show. I think we've had our own personal experiences with this. Actually, being an opening DJ is actually one of the hardest things, actually, because you're reading a crowd. You don't wanna overstep um, the main performer, and I see this in like I guess like places like Kuda, where at 10 o'clock they're already playing like prime time tracks, and you shouldn't be doing that. Always have a backup plan for your tracks. I've had some, yeah, also crazy horror stories where my bag didn't make it to my gig or your USB didn't work. So always have a spare. Always have a contract so that you don't get screwed over. A lot of these times, I think gigs are done through just like an invisible handshake, and you sometimes gigs get canceled or whatever. I've had my fair share of in that, and if you don't have a contract, then you're just on the downfall. Be careful with double bookings. Once you get like a gig and then you want to actually you want to actually get the gig that you want, and you're holding on, well, you might end up losing both gigs. Don't appear desperate. Just be respectful for club owners and clients, because they could be busy and you don't want to be like just hounding them just to make sure you get the gig. So that's all that. So yeah, um, just for the conclusion of this, as I said before, it's an experience. Think of yourself as a brand 360, um, and it's always all about the music. So, keep yourself current. Try not to play what everyone else is playing. Um, I said DJ is an ongoing story that you're writing. It's keep your press kit updated, keep your bio updated. It's a full-on work, man. So I think the more you put into the homework, the more gigs that you're gonna get. Don't be bogged down by rejection. It just means you weren't ready. I mean, there's the DJ game is not what it used to be. There's like so many DJs now. You know what I mean? It's just like if you didn't get the gig, then just keep on trying. That's what I'm trying to get at. And in the very end, of course, remember to have fun doing this. Don't let it eat you up. Oh yeah, this is for everyone who's gonna be sending the thing. I'm gonna send this out, and then you guys can follow up on your reading. Next, cool. And then I want to end with this quote: "The only impossible journey is the one you never begin." Um, just keep on hustling. It's not an easy game, and I truly believe that from my beginnings, I just never stopped, even though my parents just didn't want me to DJ. It was a very competitive market. I don't think I'm the best DJ in the world, and somehow I just kept on pushing. And if you believe in what you're doing, if you're passionate in what you're doing, great things will happen. So that's my conclusion to all this. I hope you guys like the presentation. So um, I think before I start the interactive QA, I just wanted to see if anyone had any questions. Yeah, Derek. No, no, no.
Okay. I didn't turn it on. It's a 360 experience. I understand that from the music perspective, right? As being a clubber, right? What kind of metrics or what kind of things should you be looking at to making sure you're doing it right or doing it wrong? Is there any? I mean, you said there's no real answers, but I'm assuming there's like on social media you're measuring something or something like that.
Well, from my side of things, I mean, like, I guess your own metric is like the number of gigs that you're getting, the number of likes that you're getting. I mean, it's like it's everything. You know what I mean? If you're doing something right, your metric is you're getting more and more gigs, I guess. You know what I mean? I yeah, it's hard to even put that in a quantity. It's just like you know from your heart whether you're not doing the right thing. If you're not getting booked, then there's obviously something wrong. And then if you are getting booked, then you are getting it right. I think the part where you just have to like tweak yourself is the part where the following up. It's the, hey man, thank you for the gig last night. When can we do the next gig? It's just little things like that. You know what I mean? So just don't think that the gig is the end game. It's the following up. It's the networking that you meet in the gigs. Maybe there might be a club owner, there might be another client or something like that. It's just, you just gotta keep on hustling, man, you know? So I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you.
Cool. Well, if the, the questions that are gonna be asked to me are probably gonna be asked to the panel as well. So I have a few people that I wanna try to get up here. 1 second, guys. So the first one, in no particular order, is we got Bali native, DJ of clubs and festivals, and produced various singles, compilations, bootlegs. He is the resident of Sky Garden and the music director of 87.8 Hard Rock FM Bali. And he has singles that have gone into 1 million downloads. I don't know anything that this guy hasn't done. So please welcome Echa Angara.
I think my Go-Jek is up front. You can wait.
All right, and then next, hailing from Germany, he's a turntablist that has spun in many clubs around Germany, internationally, and around Europe. He has performed with many live acts, including Jagged Edge, Blackstreet, Montel Jordan, and many more. He is also taught as a lecturer at the world's largest and well-known school of DJing, Vibra. Please welcome DJ Mad Dog.
2 minutes.
Sure. 2 minutes. This DJ producer has received mighty receptions in venues and festivals from Miami to Ibiza, Amsterdam to Bali, and all around China. He has ended up producing his own distinctive genre called Powerhouse, and has taken an innovative role in the electronic dance music scene, aligning his characteristics and sound right in between mainstream and underground. Please welcome Styline. Everybody, is Tess here yet? Okay, cool. So we're gonna have to try to do this without her. So I'm just gonna open the discussion with questions that I've had that could probably, inspire. Oh, Tess is here. All right, so from Stockholm, Sweden, traveled the world as a model and has appeared in over 100 fashion magazines and Swedish TV. She has also changed her career to be a model, and is DJing all around major clubs in Bali, Omnia, Red Ruby, you name it. She's also been nominated in Top Female DJs in the World by DJ Mag. Please welcome Tesh Fisher. Right on time. Okay, so I'm just, where's the other microphone? It's there, okay. So I'm just gonna kind of like ask some questions and kind of like everybody just go around and answer. So, Oscar, we'll start with you. Explain how you got into DJing and eventually how you got your first gig.
Okay, well, my story is pretty unconventional. I started by myself in my bedroom with virtual DJ. And I didn't even have a controller, so I only had a mouse. So my transitions were super basic, but it came down to basically picking the right tracks and having essentially a good taste in music, I would upload my mixes of 1 hour to YouTube, and I would get over 1 million views there. And that's how I started out. I would be the first person to really do that on YouTube, and my channel grew over 500,000 subscribers. So that's how I originally started, and that was more commercial, obviously, but I was like 15 and in my bedroom. But I took that through my mixing in a sense where after, even now, I try to keep the transitions down to the music, try to mix by ear in key, and don't overdo it like crazy, but basically come down to try to minimize it so people can actually enjoy the tracks that are playing. Because I hear that a lot from DJs that are just trying to throw 3 tracks above each other, and it's just a mess. So it's just about getting the transition in the right time for me and making a good mix of the music that matters, so you take people in like on a little journey. So that's how I started.
Echa, yeah, it's the same question to apply for everybody.
I started from radio. I work in a radio, and they got like a pair of like turntables, and because I got like a lot of free time and start learning from turntables. There's like a lot of records. Then when I first got my first gig, it was like in this club in Lombok. Cause I grew up in Lombok, so it's like this random club where they give me a chance. Then after that, I went to Jakarta and start building my career in Jakarta. One thing led to another. End up in Bali, like from 2008, so like 10 years ago. Been stuck here ever since.
It's hard to leave.
Okay. Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. So I started in '96 with collecting vinyl, and was actually a fan of music because the most songs that were released in this time was just the music back in the time was released on vinyl, so that's why I started collecting vinyl music. So, and I was a fan of all the turntablism culture, so I started with turntablism and battling, and then getting into a club gigs and club music.
Can I sit here behind? Okay. My name is Tess, and as the introduction, I've been working as a model for 10 years. But my biggest passion was always music, and I decided 4 years ago to go to a music school in London to learn to produce, and I learned logic and music theory, and I always wanted to DJ, but I was a little bit scared because I was afraid I was going to be bad, and all these excuses. But then I decided, New Year's 2016, I said, okay, now I have to try this and do it. So I took all of 2017 just to learn. I went to 2 different teachers, one in Sweden, which was like old school hip hop, which was like an intense 7 days course. And then I went to London and I took like a course that was more like modern with record box and computers, so I had both worlds. And then after that, I basically just took online courses and studied and watched online. And now I've been DJing for 1 year, and I started here in Bali, and I've been playing at different venues here, and yeah, it's been happening pretty fast. But
it's all about journey, right? So, for people who are, still trying to figure this out and trying to make it in the game, at one point in your career, did you realize that this is what you wanted to do? And what does it take to make it in the DJ scene from what you guys think? Like, everyone faces challenges, right? So to be above the game, I know, Mad Dog, you've been kind of like DJing all around Europe. I know Styland as well. And from your experiences, to be ahead of the game, because as Derek was mentioning, what is the metric of success kind of thing?
I think for me it was just to start and stop making excuses and not be afraid and just go for it. Because in a way, I wish I started like 6-7 years ago. But I mean, I'm happy I'm doing it now, but just start and don't feel afraid and go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's a bit more difficult. I think it's in general it depends on what scale you're looking at. If you're looking at an international scale nowadays, it used to be enough if you produce some good tracks that you release on a good label, like Spinning Records or whatever. Like 4 or 5 years ago, these guys, they release one hit song, it goes big, they can tour internationally, they can come to Asia at any time now. Nowadays, the market is way oversaturated, so it's like Mikey said, it's a full package. You have to run the socials, you have to produce, you have to be somewhat special so that you stand out in front of everyone else. You also have to maybe have your own label and do all these things as one person. It's really difficult. Then at some point, obviously, if you grow in that, you can probably get, I don't know, a manager or something on board or some team. And usually there, it's probably best if it's just a really good friend of yours that can help you out with this kind of stuff, because then you're not being screwed over or anything, and it's just you all pull on the same string together. And I think that's like the most important thing that I learned. Like, put yourself together with like a crew that you really like, that's supporting you. Same what we're doing here with Bali Praia, you know, it's a family, and then together you can achieve more in the end. Yeah.
I agree with everyone. If there's something that I would like to add, it's probably like being different. Being different helps, because I remember the first time I got noticed, it's actually by Stan. Because like I think he listened to my mixtape while most of back then, most of Indonesian and especially Jakarta DJs was playing house or hip hop, and I've been releasing mixtape playing like Baltimore or like some like random Dutch stuff, and Stan like contacting me. I think that's the first time that it works for me, like being different. So right now I'm keeping my set like different. So it's kind of like unpredictable. I can go from hip hop and then play something like Queen or some metal and stuff like that. It works for me.
Yeah, what can I add? Because everybody said the most important thing, but maybe I can add this. The first question everybody should ask himself is, when you want to be a DJ, do you want to be a service or a product? So, and when you set your goals, you have to go to some different strategy. So the most difficult question is, I think, the management, because if you're traveling a lot, from the outside it's looking beautiful, but when you travel, it's like 70% is you're dealing with flights, with delays and all that stuff. So that makes the DJ life really hard. So you actually need a good management so they can take care of all the, let's say, road management and all the travel stuff. So the DJ can actually just concentrate on being an artist.
Cool, man. Well, thank you all for sharing with that. And I think I could relate in Echa, because I remember Stan back in the day. We were all hip-hop DJs playing in Jakarta, and I was one of the first people that was playing house. And you're like, dude, you should just start playing house. And from there, you know, your musical genre starts expanding. But as I said before, you were already labeled as a hip-hop DJ. It was so hard for me to break out of that. But just keep on pushing, and then identify your sound, identify your identity, and then and yeah, you'll get more gigs. So this is more of like a beginner question, and I'll just maybe just ask you two, because then it'll be repeated for the end. What do you think is the #1 tip on getting prepared on approaching new contacts for gigs? I know this actually would be good for you, Tess, because you just started DJing, I think, in the last 2 years, I think?
No, after the summer, when I got my key test, that's when I
So,
probably started.
so this summer?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. So this question would be very applicable for you, yeah.
What do you mean?
It's like, what would be your #1 tip on being prepared on approaching contacts for new gigs? Because, you know, like, how did you even prepare yourself on getting new gigs? Because you were completely new in this industry, you know?
I always look into the venue that I'm gonna play, and I ask the promoter or the person booking me the style. I try to do as much research as possible, and then I always take like a couple of days where I hunt music, and I don't like to have like too many, like thousands of tracks, but rather the tracks that I pick, that I feel something. and I do it in record box. I put the cue points and like if it's groovy, if it's Afro, if it's tribal. Like I like to be organized. So I try to like groovy maybe in the beginning, and like I try to keep folders of the different genres. If it's a long set, then I like to do it like that. If it's short, then I always take a rule that if I'm playing 2 hours, to have at least 4 hours of music. So yeah.
Yeah, that's already super good. Because I see a lot of guys do not prepare any of this, and being organized with all the music that you have is super important. That you have playlists, even you don't want to play the full playlist, but you know where you can find the track that really killed it 3 weeks ago. Because then you're like, in the moment you need it, you know where to find it. And if you have cue points and all these kind of things, and nowadays I suggest, unless you're like a really open format DJ, start with record box. Like don't come up to a gig and try to wire your Serato or your Tractor there for half an hour, and you just interrupt the entire vibe the night has. I mean, it's a little bit different if you play more open format or hip hop nowadays, and you can get set up way quicker now as well with the mixers, but that's definitely like one big thing. And then lastly, I think, have fun, bring the energy, because the crowd is giving you way more energy back if you bring it. And then, don't get drunk every set. That's maybe also a good thing. Try to enjoy yourself and have fun as well sometimes without getting drunk, because otherwise you start to need to be drunk to play, and that sucks. Yeah.
I mean, just a quick ad before Derek, because I've been DJing from vinyl to CDJs to Serato to Tractor and finally record box, and I will tell you right now, record box changed the game. So I know all these DJs that are just starting out, they're all trying to buy S2s and Tractors and being all this like bedroom DJ. Just try to be in the technology of what the club is using. They're not gonna have a Tractor S2 in the club. Try, and then try to find a place where you can practice. But you guys nailed it. It's just like it's all about the homework, being prepared, and it'll be a good thing. Sorry, you have a question?
What about before that, right? Because when you started to prepare, this is just prepping for a set. You need to get the content to get the set first. So as you were new to the game, how did you get those contexts? Did you already have context for being a model because you're already in the scene, so you were able to leverage that? Or say me, someone maybe in finance, how does that work?
Yeah. When I was doing modeling, I was doing that back in Europe and in the States, so not in Bali. So coming here, I didn't know anyone, and I met my boyfriend the second day when I landed, and also he knows some people here, so he helped to introduce, like send my mixtape, like, oh, it sounds good, like she can come and play. And then I think word of mouth, like if you're good at one gig, people will talk and they will recommend you. And also I'm very bubbly and social, and I meet people, and then it just kind of happened, and then I think it's like a snowball effect after that. Yeah.
Is there anything that you guys want to add?
Yeah, for me, it's about friends. It's about friends. Because truthfully, from my experience, I never get a gig from somebody I didn't know. It's always like a friend of a friend. Like, for example, I knew Fadi from the old days, and then Fadi introduced me to Mikey, and then Mikey asked me to play in Bali Praia, and event is busy. Hey, can you play in Envy, and just like stuff like that. Like, so I got a gig in Envy. I don't know anybody in Envy, but Fadi and Mikey, there's like somebody's there from Envy, like watching the show and everything, and then it's all about having friends. Because I'm blessed, like that. I got a lot of friends. Most of them like I met when I'm drunk. But yeah, it's like the key is like hang out, just to go out there, even if it's not DJing. It was like hanging out with somebody, like checking out somebody else's gig, and then that friends offer you, hey, you want to play here next? Oh, yeah, okay. So my experience is that I never got a gig from somebody I didn't know. I never like go into a club and, hey, can I meet the management? From my experience, I never do that.
This one's specifically for Tess, and I guess it's on behalf of all the ladies who are listening. And this would have applied to you, I guess, when you were doing modelling. Have you ever had the issue when you've made a new contact, you're sort of getting to know them to sort of not ask for a gig, but get a gig from them, and they've become a bit too flirtatious to be professional? If that's happened, like, what is the best way that you have found is the best way to sort of handle that?
Yes, that have happened. I don't know. I'm quite tough, so I don't take a lot of shit when I get in that situation. I'd rather not do the gig if it gets like too much. I've had gigs where, you know, after they would think that something would happen and then nothing is happening, and then they won't book me again because they would expect. But I mean, it's tricky. Just try to be strong and, you know, don't let them persuade you, you know. So yeah.
So, this one's an interesting one because I'm pretty sure we've had our fair share of experiences. How would one go about asking for higher DJ fees? Start with you, Oscar.
I'm about to do that very soon.
Yeah, that's a difficult one. It really depends on the market as well. So, like Mikey said, I play a lot in China. They figure out pretty fast what is your rate between the different clubs. And especially if you're just growing, obviously the fee that I was asking for 4 years ago is different to what I ask for now. And the problem is that they kind of expect to get the same fee year after year, and it really depends on the connection that you're making there. Within the same clubs, if it's worth it and it's good for the production and everything that they're offering, it's hard to negotiate, and usually then you don't want to make, I don't know, sometimes it's like the gig itself is worth more, the exposure and everything, than the revenue that's coming out of it or the profit coming out of it. But then obviously if you have a new club that is inquiring, for me personally, it's a hard call, but usually you kind of expect them to go lower, so then you give them a price which makes you look good, but not too crazy expensive that they deny you right away. And then you can kind of give them a friend price or whatever, but you do definitely, usually for example here in Bali, that's practiced a lot in Sky Garden and all these places, they try to put you on like a holiday gig, where they tell you, yeah, you play for free and you come here and you enjoy some few days in like a nice hotel. Yeah, of course. Thank you, Fadi. I mean, it works if these guys are on tour for a while and then they come in Australia or somewhere and they come here and they just want to have a week of free time. Yeah, I think it can work. But in general, I think you should try to be pretty tough, because in the end of the day, this is what you're working for. In the end of the day, this is the negotiation you have to go through. And then once you're there, it's all fun anyway. No one will be angry at you because you asked for a higher fee or something like this, right? So once you're there, it's all happy anyway, everyone. So
I've always also asked like the other DJs if I feel like, especially being a girl, sometimes I've noticed that I get less paid, and then I can ask like, oh, what are you getting paid? And then, you know, I try to talk like, yeah, of course, like, you're really good. Yeah, you should get the same like everyone else. So I tried to like, you know, check with my DJ friends, what are they getting, you know, and do it like that.
Okay. That's a good question. So, what can I add on? So first of all, it depends really on the market. And again, it depends, how do you want to see yourself as a DJ? So you want to just be a service, or you want to be a product? So if you are a DJ, what makes you outstanding from the other DJ? So the booker always asks you, why should I book this DJ or not this DJ? So you have to find, like, let's say 3 points that makes you outstanding. And this is also a way of marketing. Like, how do you see yourself as an artist? So I think also the music market depends, because I know that the EDM market and the house music market is way different than the hip-hop market. So it depends on the music, what you play, and also on the venues. So I also agree. I heard this stories a lot with the holiday gigs. But actually, it doesn't make sense. It's just okay. So, but what happens nowadays is our our job, our profession, the DJ, is not copyright. So everybody can be a DJ tomorrow when he buys a laptop and has some songs on the laptop. So when we have this problem with that everybody is a DJ, there is no difference, because you can call himself a DJ, he call himself a DJ, and the bartender call himself a DJ. So what is the difference? So I think you have to see yourself, where do you want to go? And from there on, you decide which strategy you want to go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, it's really interesting what you're saying, because I came here a long time ago. You know, Bali is now, you all living here, right? All of you.
You're too long.
Right? I know. I came here like 2001, and that time when I came here, I literally just brought my CDs, right? And the way to get the gig is, like Echa said, I had to become friends with the local. And literally I could play every night, and it was the best club in the world for me, Double Six. It's absolutely worth it to play for free that time. But same time, I wasn't a big DJ. I just wanted to play, the energy, everything. But the time goes by, and I start running the clubs, right? Here's the difference that I want to understand how your experience. I mean, Echa, you're from Jakarta, right? Right, Mikey too from Jakarta. I got to know Mikey. Mikey was helping me in Jakarta. I got him some gigs in Bali, but I don't know where you from? Germany, right? And same thing with Oscar. When did you come to Bali?
Actually, I don't live here.
Not yet. Okay, cool. You've been here, Oscar, how long? 3 years. 3 years. And Taz, you've been here? Okay, 1 year. Now, you talk about these holiday gigs that literally I had to start this. And the only reason that time was because when I came here, they don't pay DJs. There was no money to pay the DJs anyway. But we had the best club in the world, actually, Double Six. We had Armand van Helden, we had John Digweed, Sasha, all of them play for free there. And there's a reason. It's a great club. To be honest, you didn't get any exposure. There was no marketing in that place. People didn't even know what Double Six was, except that you maybe are from Indonesia, Jakarta, or Bali itself. For example, Zouk, Singapore. They're more marketing than actually the club is not that cool as everybody's saying, but the biggest DJs are playing. So my question to you, different, is like when we talk about these holiday gigs, like it's kind of like, do you do this music, I mean, do you DJ only, is it passion or is it professionalism, right? And I know that we love music, right? I mean, I love music. Music is the key, right? So a lot of the gigs sometimes that I choose is because it's for my soul. You know, it's a great gig. I want it. And some DJs, even big names, like we had John Digweed, such a play for free. For them, the reason they did, I think, that holiday gig, they said to me, when I said, okay, I can give you $1,000. Well, they're worth maybe 30, right? And they said to me, it's better I play for free. For them, it was worth better for them. It was like they're giving me now a favor, right? Of course, that's why I created these holiday gigs where, all right, I'll set you up in a penthouse, right? I'll get you free this and free that. So in the end, it actually cost us money anyway. So for them, it's a bigger value. But I think this day has changed. Like now, Echa, when you came from Jakarta, Jakarta pays way better than Bali. Bali has still same fee as has been literally 10 years ago. I have actually even put that number in, which is still going on. I'm not gonna say the number, but and what I want to understand is why is the reason that all of you guys actually came to Bali when you know that the money here is not big. This is what I always, because I get a lot of complaint. Like, of course, as we say as a DJ, when you say we would prefer to get paid because we do put a lot of effort and time. Of course, everybody wants to get paid as much as possible. But I'm still, like, I had people coming to me, it's like, oh, I want to play here. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll give you this much. He's like, what? In Europe, I get 5,000 euro. I'm like, yeah, well, go back then. You know, like, it's, bring me with you, you know, like, and I guess what I've been trying to find out is how come actually all this time people are approving the gigs? I mean, why are you here and doing it?
Good question. Should I start?
Of course.
So, to answer your question, I'm from Germany and I'm currently on the Asia tour. So I'm traveling a lot, and this is like my 4th time in Bali. And so the question why I came here is I have very good friends. So big shout out to Stan.
Woohoo, Stan! Legend.
Yeah, I mean, if you come all the way from Germany just to play one gig in Bali, that doesn't make sense. So you have to see, I don't know, this time I did like 10 gigs, so I came to Bali and to meet some my friends, And I totally agree. It's about friends and network. So I started traveling a lot in the end of the 90s. So I met everywhere I go, even in the smaller cities, you find DJs. And when you find DJs and when you find turntables and stuff, so you have a lot of things in common. So then you talk about music, you share a lot of music, you share knowledge, because like, I think nowadays nobody shares knowledge anymore because everybody's afraid, oh, when I give you my music, you will be better than me. So whatever, I don't. So I believe is sharing means caring, so that's why everywhere I go, when people ask me for music, I'm ready to share. I'm ready to share, I don't know, when it comes to turntablism, scratching. I teach in a DJ school, so I want to make the DJs better, because what I see is everybody is a DJ and everybody can be a DJ because the technology is so interesting that you don't actually need to mix anymore because the software is doing it for you. So, I love Bali. So I love the food, I love the culture, and I think to DJ here is different than in Europe. And sometimes you get good paid gigs, but the vibe is not good and the party is not good, so everybody's on Instagram and doing pictures. So, and sometimes you have parties that maybe the money is not that good, but the party is good, and this is about Bali.
The reason I came to Bali, it's the money. Yeah, for me, the money is good. The money is good, and it's a steady gig. Like for example, I don't have to like tour a lot, because like before I was like touring a lot, like every weekend, like 3 cities all across Indonesia, and after a while it gets like tiring. You can ask Stan, he still do it. And then offer comes to me to be a resident DJ in one of the clubs in Bali, and I was like, hey, it's okay, the money's good, and I still get the freedom. I mean, I still can play other places. I can also still work. I still work in daytime because I like money. Not because they don't pay me enough, because I just like. No, I've done a holiday gig. Like a friend of mine was like working in a new club in Thailand. It was like a really new club, and I was like, "Hey, can you play here? I can't pay you, but I can like just take it as a holiday." So yeah, it's a good friend, and then I say, "Hey, yeah, holiday in Thailand, it's okay." So I played there for like 2 days and spent like 5 days, and end up like in the middle of a jungle, like in the Burma border, like smoking weed with some sketchy dudes. So it's turns out to be fine.
I did not come to Bali for the gigs. I don't play for money in Bali. Basically, that's what it comes down to. It's same like what Fadi said. You rather want to not accept money than a really shitty fee, and I think that's for me is kind of the same. I play for a way higher fee back in Europe, in the States, or in China, or somewhere else. I enjoy the parties here, and I like to play them. Like tomorrow, we're playing at Jungle, and I think it will be a great vibe. But we're playing there because we love it, and that's the reason why we're here. Also, I feel like I'm missing, if I'm producing and you cannot play so much, you're missing the output. So it's definitely good to play where you are. Otherwise, I don't know, if you don't test your music before you go on a tour or something, it just doesn't work. Yeah, I think that's it.
So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of reasons, you know, why we moved to Bali. Me and my lovely wife right there. We just we just made the move to Bali this year. You know, it's also the question of why did we make Bali Praia in Bali and not other places? And I feel like Bali is one of these like right time, right place sort of. It's at this brink of maybe even taking over Ibiza. We don't know. You know what I mean? I mean, look at the number of venues, look at the number of beach clubs, look at the number of festivals, like everything. There is just so many DJs. Oh, do you have a?
No, okay. So listen, when I came to Bali 2001, it was literally double six club, right? It was a dream. Like imagine, it doesn't matter who you were or what you were or what you did, right? Everybody end up in double six. Rich, poor, lesbian, gay, you know, anything, right? And that was all about music. It was literally just about the music. It wasn't about how you look like, you know, or which Instagram post you're gonna take, right? The energy was incredible. My dream has always been to go to Ibiza because literally Ibiza has been on the map of being literally the mecca of music or being the party place in the world. And I still haven't been to Ibiza yet when I came to Bali. I was lucky how I came here, but okay, I started playing here, and then the next year I met actually one guy from Ibiza who ended up being one of the manager of Pacha, right? And that was just, wow, amazing. Oh, I want to go. So next year I went to Ibiza. You have a massive expectation of what Ibiza should be. To be honest, okay, I was wowed about the energy of the crowd there. I was not so wow of the clubs. I wasn't so wow of, because why? Double Six itself was just amazing. I mean, I went to Zouk, Singapore. Everybody, Zouk, Singapore, Zouk, Singapore. It was horrible. Yeah, you see, where in the world do you go and there is like 4,000 people going crazy, there's a swimming pool, bungee jump going on. It's like a festival every day. And everybody's so friendly and have it great. I'm pretty sure a lot of people had an amazing time here before it closed. Some, unfortunately, haven't got the chance to experience Double Six. And I will, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I met all my friends because of Double Six. It closed down where the hotel is, right? I will give you a history of Double Six one day. Anyway. But most of the people I met, I mean, the way I know, I mean, Mikey I met in Jakarta, but after that, I only met Mikey when he had school holidays, and that's when they came to Little Double Six, you know, oh, Fadi, we're coming, yeah, you know, like, everybody met them. But here's the answer. Even in Ibiza, right, because I just had Matt Caselli here yesterday. Matt Caselli is one of, actually, a legend guy in Pacha. He was resident DJ of Pacha. Now, if you will try to tour him as Matt Caselli, there's not a lot of people who would actually grab him. He's not famous enough. It's crazy, even though I think he's the legend of the scene there. And that has to do with what you guys talking about today about Mikey, about how you're marketing yourself and stuff. It doesn't matter. Look at Tess. What, 6 months? She's getting more gigs than anyone almost here. You know, it's the DJ thing it depends on what you want to do and how you approach. Like, so going to that, Matt Caselli was a resident DJ, and the reason he was playing there was because he loved it, and he played in the best club for the best energy. All right. It wasn't even if I have seen big names DJ who play for like 10,000s of people. They enjoy more to play for 50 people sometimes because of their having a more of a, the energy, right? So even in Ibiza, believe it or not, they are not getting a lot of paid. These guys DJ. I heard they are like 300 euro for a gig, these guys, even playing in the best clubs in the world. But they want it, and I guess it's because of you want it so much to play in this club, and it's a lot of competition. You want to be part of. This is what I've been trying to get here. They are the money-paid gigs, and they are the one that is good for your soul, right? And Bali, I think it's most of the gigs you're playing here is just healthy for you. I mean, there are shit clubs here. We'll take them sometimes, right? But most of the gigs here are amazing, like the energy. And I have, like Echa said, you get tired of touring. I toured too in Indonesia. You go from Makassar, and you go to Bandung, and the next day you get here, and you're eating the same food, and you're like, you know, I mean, Tess is gonna go through this, good luck now, but the money is amazing, right? But when you get tired of it, I'd rather take my motorbike and play 2 great hours there, and then the next place and play a great hour. But again, this is exactly what I think when I tell yes, holiday gig and stuff. And I think in some way it's a good thing too, because you keep the quality of the music here in Bali too. We're not just paying people a lot of money.
I just wanted to add, you know, Bali is one of these melting pots where people appreciate this kind of music as well. We're now talking on a national level, yeah? It's just like you can't be playing some of the music like deep underground tech house in the rest of Indonesia. And Bali has reached of a standard of international, you know, you got ultra music, you got, I understand, but I think it's one of these things where there's so many DJs that are on here on the island, and there's been this like norm that has been set, this fee almost, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, we are living on this island where, I'm sorry, if I'm not gonna take this 1.5 million gig, then the next DJ is like right there. We were thinking of making a DJ union or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the thing is, it's actually the same in modeling. let's say Vogue, which is the best thing that you can ever do as a model, they don't pay anything. Then you can do like a shit catalog in whatever country and they pay like 5,000 euros, but you get the money. So I think in art in general, the more cred, the cooler it is, the better it is for your image, the less it pays. So it's, you know, it's unfortunately like that. So yeah.
I guess that's the answer. Is better gigs, less pay. Accept that you have to change that one thing.
I think the answer is it's all funny's fault.
I know.
But actually, I was in a email conversation, I'm not going to say the venue, and we were all discussing how we can up the rate because it's a venue that makes a lot of money and we're playing for a long time for a very little fee. So I think maybe I've been hearing this discussion now that, you know, something needs to happen to like appreciate the artist, you know, a little bit more.
Okay, I know I was one of the one who put that fee in, but that would literally made sense. But that was literally like 15 years ago, man. Like, okay, and actually, to be honest, we got paid better back in the days. But I think, yes, it went a little bit wrong. Like, I think we should put up the fees here because the places are making money. Like, a lot of places are making, but that's exactly what you said. Like, the big beach clubs right now, they know that everybody wants to play there. So if we don't take it, someone else is going to take it. And if we don't take it, what's going to happen? We're going to get worse music in this island. And if we get worse music in this island, it's going to die out totally.
Yeah.
So
but what I also try to do, maybe in the first gig or two, I accept the lower rate, but then I want to like prove myself a little bit and then be like, oh, she was really good and people really enjoyed it. Okay, we want to book you again. Okay, well, then can we talk about the rate again? Like I try to do it like that because, you know, yeah.
just one more question, actually, to Mikey, all of you guys. I mean, I'm more a resident DJ now, and make it easy, right? But when we talk about marketing, right? And does it actually help now to have more Instagram followers? Do they actually look at that for you to get higher salary? Yeah. Even in Bali,
It helps.
get a lot.
I don't know, because for me, it doesn't, it helps, but for me, it doesn't really matter for me, because back from my previous statement that I get gigs from friends of friends of
That's
friends.
true.
So if you visit my Instagram profile, it's like random. Sometimes there's a picture of me, of my dog, or my cats, or like when I'm playing like video games, stuff like that. But
That's what.
it helps for the people that wants to market themselves as a product, like you said, as a product. I see myself DJing as a service, as a service. I also have like a side project that I'm marketing it as a product. And we've toured a lot also, but I'm not the one handling that. Like they got my partner is doing the promotion and everything about them. But for me, personally, my own brand, my own name, I get gigs from friends. So my social media is like more like a place to be social with friends. I know those like laughing around, like posting memes and some stupid shit, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Instagram itself is not even that important anymore. It's really hard to know, but I see myself as a product more than anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm building a brand around myself, so that's what it comes down to. I produce my own music, I produce my own genre. That's what I'm trying to push. In a place where this is not respected or where they don't know that, it's really difficult to ask for a higher fee because you're doing this. If no one wants it there, then there's no market for it. If I now go to Amsterdam and there's a lot of people in the music industry there that follow what I'm doing, then yeah, it's super helpful, but it doesn't really come down to how many numbers you have on Instagram or something like this.
It's not a really good metric.
Yeah, and I mean in Europe maybe actually even more than here, and I see that a lot with my girlfriend over there because she has, I don't know, like close to 500,000 followers on Instagram. But does that translate a lot into people coming to an event? Does that translate a lot into more product sales or something like this? Not really. It's really difficult nowadays, and people are just really oversaturated with everything. So be there, be seen, be in your story, and be yourself. I think that's one thing as well. Don't try to be someone else. Like, even though I'm trying to be a product in your story, just be the funny or whatever guy that you are, and don't try to, I don't know, be the super cool guy, because you cannot hold up that facade and then people will get behind your shit, and then they will never want to be with you again. So be who you are, be yourself. Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, just to add to this, I mean, like social media is definitely a new thing. It's a new way of getting out there, but it's not everything, man. You know, I think my the point where I said most important is networking. You know what I mean? Like we always said, friends, get out there, you know, like kind of like be respectful, kind of know how to schmooze the game. I mean, like in the very end, I think the three biggest things, if I were to nail it down, is your attitude. If you're an ass, you're not gonna get booked. If you're a cool guy and everybody likes you, you're gonna get more booked. Networking, get out there. It's just not about one gig. It's about kind of like going from club to club, meeting people and just getting gigs out there. And then the last thing is your music, the product, you know what I mean? Because if you're gonna be out there, you can be friends with literally 1,000 people and they're gonna get you gigs, but if you're a shitty DJ, well, it's not gonna work out. I'm gonna leave it to Mad Dog and Tess. Mad Dog first.
Yeah, I would like to add some on this Instagram thing. I think it helps, but in the end of the day, it also depends on the guy who books you. If he's just interested in popular things, then of course he's going into the follower and everything. But I think for us as a DJ, in the end of the day, you have to give the guys and the crowd a good performance. And it doesn't matter if you have like 100 followers or 1 million. I've seen a lot of DJs that have 1 million followers and they suck. So just concentrate on playing good music, being humble, because even if you think you are the shit, there is somebody coming into the corner and killing it, and so. There's always an Asian better than you. So I would say there is a 13-year-old Asian kid who can everything, because nowadays it's easy. And you have all this YouTube tutorials and everything, so everybody don't need to contact anybody, so they can just go on YouTube and just check out everything and just learn it.
I've actually been getting gigs from Instagram, so I think that has been positive, but also with my modeling, how I started building up my Instagram, it was from my modeling and being like an influencer. I would get a lot of like direct messages and inquiries like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think it is important in a way, but especially what I noticed in my modeling, all the brands cared about and the agencies was how many followers you would have. But I think in the music, in somewhat it is important to, you know, display what you're doing and share that, but I don't think that's the most important thing. Like all you've been saying is the talent, like when you're actually out there and the word of mouth, like, you know, people talk, oh, she's good or he sucks, like doesn't matter if you have 1 million or not, you know.
All right, Josh, I was about to say, any more questions? I see some hands up. For me, actually, I don't really have a preference. It's one of those things where I feel, that's what I was talking about, digital footprint. It's like, dude, the more you're out there, the more searchable you are and people will find you, I think, you know? I think SoundCloud, and I think you guys can like add to this, they've kind of been a little bit more restricted these days. But you know what, it's not gonna stop me just because of all these restrictions that I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna stick with Mixcloud or anything like that. I mean, I only just recently discovered about Podbean, where you can put your mixes on iTunes and Spotify, and whatever exposure will get you, you know, there might be a guy who's on Spotify and he's not on SoundCloud. It's just matters well, just upload everything. So that's my take on it.
For me, I differentiate between SoundCloud and Mixcloud. My SoundCloud is more for my productions, music I make. I don't post mixtape there, mainly because they always took it down. I use Mixcloud for my mixes. I upload it there at least once a month. Yes, and usually the mixed stuff that doesn't work in the clubs, like weird stuff that I think sounds good, but probably work, probably not. depends on the night, because sometimes the weird stuff does actually work. But Mixcloud is it's kind of like for me for experimenting with sound. Like this month I want to experiment with this kind of sound. I put it in Mixcloud. People can listen to it or they don't. But it's SoundCloud. I focus more on my productions and everything.
And I've mainly only been on SoundCloud. I also think it's a very good place to find new music, because if I like a song, then you can click to get more similar songs, and it can be songs that are like very unknown or very new. So I use it like that, and then I use it to get bookings, like to upload my mixtapes and then send the SoundCloud link. Mixcloud, I haven't really explored that so much, but yeah, SoundCloud and maybe pods. I think that's the future. So. Yeah.
Yeah, when you're playing hip hop and mix a few well-known music, they take it down.
On SoundCloud?
On SoundCloud, yeah.
But I think they started something now on SoundCloud. Do you know?
Yeah, it's
like
kind of like
and if you have
place
certain
yeah.
plays and stuff, and
Yeah, they copy it from Mixcloud. They're too late because it's back when people posting mixtape in SoundCloud and that got rejected, and then they moved to Mixcloud. That kind of system already in Mixcloud a long time ago. Like you post your set list in there, and the artist that the song is played got revenue from that. But SoundCloud is going there a bit too late. For me, I prefer Mixcloud for my mixes.
Okay, no, I was just seeing if you have anything to add.
I don't know about Asia, but in Europe is SoundCloud really a problem, because if they taken down everything, even if you just play 10 seconds, and so there are mixtapes and mixtapes. So I think if you just play music, it's very difficult. But so what I do is I scratch a lot and do a lot of turntable tricks, so they cannot check the song. So I'm lucky.
Hi guys, I'm Michael. Really nice to chat tonight. Thank you. I wanted to ask, because I had many international guests coming to Bali, and they was always referring to is what Reverb Nation? No, the other one, website where you can post your what's the name? Yeah, RA, Resident Advisory. So are you all using this thing? What is about it?
I made my own profile there, because if you look at like DJs on a more professional scale, I think most of them have like a profile with their bio and pictures and upcoming gigs, and I just think it looks professional, and I just look at other DJs and I see all of them have the profile. So I went online and I was like, okay, I should do that as well. And then yeah, so I think it could be smart, and also try to post the events that you're gonna have, especially if it's bigger venues. But it's not really like a top list. It's more like a profile showcasing where your gigs are going to be and your bio and pictures. At least that's what I got from it. I don't know. LinkedIn? Oh, I don't know. I'm not on LinkedIn. I don't know. I think, no.
I use LinkedIn for my music directing. I use LinkedIn for like my music directing, because I work in radios. I get like side gigs, like making playlists for shops from there, but not DJing, I think. I do, but mostly because I work in radio also as a music director, so I sometimes get like side gigs, like can you make a playlist for my shops, stuff like that, and I handle it, the clearing with the labels and everything. So stuff like it, but not DJing. I never had got DJ gigs from LinkedIn, I think. For my music directing work, yeah, it is. I network with other radio music director from all across the world, also from there. Kind of helps. I think it's kind of helps my own music, because I know a lot of like music directors. I kind of like said, "Hey, can you play my tracks?" "Oh, okay, because I know, kind of help it. Yeah, it's more corporate. Yeah, more corporate.
I mean, the old days when okay, in Bali we were based, we were residents, we play in the clubs here, but if we wanted, like, remember when we wanted to get gigs abroad? I had a manager for a while, but not much. We had to do everything ourselves. Does it still work like the way that we find literally the info of the clubs or the entertainment manager in the club, and then you send out a newsletter with your free dates and not dates and where you're playing? Does that still happen? I mean, I still get offered that with the big names. The managers send that.
To me, I think we're going back to the whole friends and network thing. You know, you know this, in Bali Praia, we're literally getting so many emails per day that's like, hey, I'm DJ so-and-so, and this is my bio, and I ignore it because I'm sorry, it's much more, whatchamacallit, there's much more substance if I'm, you know, let's say like I know Mad Dog from Stan, then Stan's my homie, of course I'm gonna be booking Mad Dog rather than just cold calling. But it's a good way of just getting out there, you know what I mean? And then maybe in some way you're gonna be bumping into these people. It's like, hey, I emailed you before, and you know I would love to play in your club or something. No, no. To be really honest, no.
No, I don't use that. I mean, some booking agents do use that. I see that when you get like, okay, this DJ is available then and then, but I don't know. I don't use that when I pitch myself to someone, no, definitely not. What I do want to say about the networking part is that it's a lot about seeding as well. That's what we figured out is really good. Like at the beginning, it's just really nice to hit up someone that you want something from eventually and just be really nice to him. Just even if it's just an Instagram message of like, hey mate, I love your tracks or I love your mix or whatever, you know. And then over the course of like a month, every like few weeks or something, you just send a compliment or you see a cool picture of him and you comment on it or something like this. Because then later down the line, you will eventually get his WhatsApp, you will eventually get his private contact, he will like you, he will have a more personal connection to you, and at that point, you're being booked because you're in his more friend circle or something like this. Or in our case, we work on a collaboration with someone that we wanted to work with, but it's not gonna work like, hey, collab bro, question mark. I mean, that's this kind of meme that's going around. No, but yeah, it does eventually work if you seed it a little bit, if you're nice to people and they get to know you first, right?
Do we have any more questions? Cool. Well, thank you all, guys, for coming down. This is, I hope, the first of many of these type of gatherings. You know, this is the whole purpose of Bali Praia, to kind of like be a creative hub, to network, to share stories, to inspire. There's a whole load of new talent out there, and they're trying to figure out this answer. I mean, Derek, I've only known you for a little while, but I know that this, you know, I hope the information was helpful. I'm sure it was, right? Yeah. And please also, if anybody would like to, there's a guy that's in Bali Praia that, you know, after he realized that I'm doing the workshop, he's like, hey, Mikey, I'm a producer, and I would like to do a workshop on how to make money with music. And, you know, with these kind of things, it's all about the community, guys. And I feel like this is also another thing about Bali Praia. The community and the creative community is very strong here. And if we keep on helping each other, and you know, this all goes back to the whole thing with networking. We are everybody's support system. So if you guys want to do something here, please, you're more than welcome as well. So thank you all. You know, the bar is going to be open till late night, and I would like to thank all the people here for coming down and, you know, giving your inputs and your time, and have fun, have a good night, you know. How long are you in Bali?
Till Monday.
Till Monday. Okay, cool.
Very good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Nice to meet you finally. I only see you by name. Your favorite name is
Oh, should we get one photo together? Sweet. All right, so yeah, let's